Hi everyone, I'm Peninah Lamm, and I'm honored to learn Perek Gimel with you today. Li Loy Nishmat, Sarah Rivka, Bat Nachamu Mendel, my wonderful Aunt Sarah, whom I miss very much. Perek Gimel has two functions in our tefillah. First of all, it's the Shir Shal Yom of Friday. And second of all, it's one of the Mizmorei Tehillim that are included in Kabbalat Shabbat that we say every Friday night. This parak is really short. It's 5 psukim long, which seems really appropriate considering it's the Shir Shal Yom of Friday, because Friday is a day when we feel very nervous. We're anticipating. There's a hustle and bustle, and we're getting excited and getting ready for Shabbat. And this parak, and the fact that it's very short, echoes this emotion and this feeling of rushing. We're kind of just waiting and anticipating Shabbat. On Friday night, oftentimes my dad gives a little Dvar Torah on the Kiddush of Friday night. And the themes that he discussed are very appropriate for this parak Tzadi Gimel. So what my dad says is that in Kiddush we talk about two separate things, two separate reasons for Shabbat. One of them is Zechar L'Maaseh Bereshit, where we're supposed to be reminding ourselves and declaring that Shabbat is the day that Hashem completed the creation of the world. And on the other hand, Shabbat is also Zechar L'Tziat Mitzrayim. It's also a commemoration of the fact that Hashem took us out of Egypt. And my dad asks, why on Shabbat are we commemorating Yetziat Mitzrayim? After all, we know that it has been an important and pivotal event in our national history, but what does it really have to do on Shabbat that it's part and parcel of our description and proclamation of what Shabbat actually is and the essence of Shabbat? And the answer is that, yeah, it's true that we need to remind ourselves and proclaim to the entire world that Hashem is the ruler who created this world, and because of him we're here. But it's not enough, because we also have to explain to the world and remind ourselves that Hashem also did Yetziat Mitzrayim, that Hashem continues to be involved and continues to be relevant in this world. And both of these aspects are shown in Perek Tzadi Gimel, the aspect of Hashem being part of the past and being part of the creation of the world, and also being part of our present and part of the Yetziat Mitzrayim. Let's look into the Perek. Pasuk Aleph, Hashem Malach Geyut Lavesh. Hashem reigned in the past tense. He is clothed in the present tense in majesty. So we see already in the first sentence, in the first pasuk of this Perek, we see Hashem reigning in the past. That's Maaseh Bereshit, and he is clothed in the present. He is involved in this world and present in this world in the present. In Masachet Rosh Hashanah, Daf Lamed Aleph, Amud Aleph, the Gemara asks why Hashem is clothed in majesty Dafka on Friday, and the Gemara answers that it's because humans were created on that day, and so creation on Friday reached the full potential to be able to praise Hashem and fully acknowledge his majesty. So on Friday, humans every single Friday, proclaim and remind ourselves of that first Friday of creation, and praise Hashem and remind ourselves that Hashem is the creator of the world. We're going to continue in Pasuk Aleph. Lavesh Hashem oz hitazar. Hashem is clothed and girded in strength. Afti kon tevel bal timot. The world is established and cannot be moved. Again, Hashem created this world with its laws of nature, and it's easy to get caught up in this thought that nature is just a pattern, it's a routine, and it goes by itself. It's self-sufficient. But no, we're reminding ourselves through this pasuk that Hashem created the world and created the laws of nature. Nachon ki sacha me'az me'olam atah. Your throne is established of old, Maaseh Bereshit, old. You are everlasting, and that's the Yetziat Mitzrayim aspect. The Hashem is in our present, and he's also in our future. He'll continue to be part of all of those aspects. Nasu naharot Hashem, nasu naharot kolam. The floods have lifted up Hashem. The floods have lifted up their voices. And here we're talking about rivers. We're talking about an aspect of nature. And Rashi says that this is actually a metaphor for Bnei Israel and Hashem's enemies. But in any case, here is nature that's coming and rebelling against Hashem. Yisu naharot zochiam. The floods lift up their roaring. Pasuk Daled, Mikolot Mayim Rabim Adirim Mishberei Yam. Above the voices of many waters and the mighty breakers of the sea. Adir B'marom Hashem. Hashem is on high and he is mighty. So even though we might think sometimes that nature is self-sufficient and nature reigns, really Adir B'marom Hashem. Hashem is always present and is always in control. And he's really the one who is in charge. Your testimonies are sure, and holiness enters your house forever. Again, this concept of future, that Hashem will continue to be part of our lives and part of our history. So throughout this parak, we see this duality of Hashem both being part of our past and part of our creation, and continuously being involved and being relevant in our present and our future. And it's interesting to note that there are a lot of parallels in language between our Perek and another part of Tanakh, another Shira in Tanakh, which is Shirat Hayam. So we see in our Perek the words Geut Lavesh, and in Shirat Hayam we see Ashira La Hashem Ki Ga'o Ga'at, that concept of Gava and majesty and glory. In our Perek we see Mikolot Mayim Rabim Adirim, and in Shirat Hayam we read Salalu Ko'oferet B'Mayim Adirim. Again, the concept of Mayim Adirim. And in our Perek we say Na'ava Kodesh. The Dat Mikra says that Na'ava is an alternative for the word Neve. And we see in Az Yashir Nahalta Ba'azcha El Neve Katshecha. So in our Perek Na'ava Kodesh, and in Shirat Hayam Neve Katshecha. So we see a link between Shirat Hayam and this Perek. And I think that this Perek is really important. Has an important message for us to think about on Shabbat, because on Shabbat we are both reflecting on what's obvious to us. We look outside and you can see the beauty that Hashem has created. You can see the trees. You go to a museum and you see the beautiful majesty and wonder that Hashem has created. And it's a little bit more difficult sometimes to remember that Hashem is continuously involved. Sometimes it's hard to find Hashem in our everyday lives. And I think that this Perek is reminding us that on Shabbat, when we're resting, is a perfect time to reflect on both the routine beauty and also finding those special times that Hashem has intervened in our lives. May this learning again be Iloi Nishmat Sarah Rivka Bat Nachum V'Menzel. Have a great day.